All right. How's it going, guys? Good evening. It's episode number two. And it's recruiting episode number two. Obviously, there is a ton to talk about. So, what that means, just like we start off with on every episode is only the second one, but we're going to do it like this every time. It's called Brew and Orange, so we're going to start with the brew. Today, just like yesterday, is going to be from Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Like I said yesterday, if you missed it, I went to the Ybor spot. It's off 8th Avenue. They follow all the procedures. They wear masks, social distance. You can feel safe. You can go there, have a good time, sit on the patio. They got a bar, or sit inside. That's where I sat. They'll even separate you, that kind of thing. You don't gotta have no care in the world. So this is what I got. Space Donkey. You see that? It's a cool can right there. For a lot of people, if you're from the Tampa Bay area, you've probably drank in Reef Donkey before. Same brewery. Cool can design. This is a hazy pale ale, Galaxy dry hopped. So, and something else cool today. So you'll see yesterday I had the Tampa Bay Brew Company shirt. So if you're watching live, you'll be able to check the shirt out. If you're just listening, I recommend maybe hopping on the YouTube live as well. Because I got a cool shirt today. Drink local. If you see there, boom. Drink beer from here. That's what we want to do. That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're always doing here. It's the whole point. So not only do I have the shirt from here, it's got this cup. See all them lines and everything? Those are the streets of Tampa. Got this cup and I got this shirt at the same time. So we're going to drink local in a local cup while wearing the local shirt. That's what it's all about. Let's go ahead and crack this. And of course, like we do every time, I'm going to drink this throughout, but I'm going to give this a couple sips. And what I didn't do yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and rate this as soon as I'm done sampling it for the first couple sips. So let's go ahead and give this a pour. I want to make sure my audience, it looks like I got one person. Hopefully that's my boy Justin. But if not, hey, what's up to anybody who's watching? That's awesome. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and give this a pour. See what we got here. Ooh, there we go. And I know you can already see that color. 12-ounce cup, 16-ounce can, so I won't fit the whole thing in here, but as you can see, it's a perfect pour. Perfect pour. There it is, baby. There we go. So, and I didn't mention, today is, in fact, I don't know who dubbed it this, today is, in fact, National IPA Day. So, not drinking an India Pale Ale, but I am drinking a Pale Ale, so we'll just go ahead and consider it IPAs today. So here we go. Cheers. Definitely check out Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Check out Space Donkey. Let's give this a sip. Let's give it a try. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I see a 4 coming on that one. Let me get one more here. So it's drinkable. So let's see. 5.5% ABV, which we already know what that means. You can crush this whole 4-pack. 5.5. Easy drinking on the beach, drinking on the golf course, drinking on your couch while you're listening to this. So while we sit here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put this on Untapped. Please find me on Untapped, Brew and Orange. You'll see I've got closing in on 700, I think. One of these posts is going to be my 700th. That's a pretty big deal as far as I'm concerned. I guess I should be huge after 700 IPAs probably. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and check this in. I'm going to give this a 4.25, slightly higher than the one yesterday, only because 5.5, you're drinking that whole 4-pack. My buddies, Justin and I, that thing's getting crushed. No question about it. And honestly, we got a loaded episode today, so I am going to go ahead and knock this rating out right now. Again, go on Untapped, look for me, Brew and Orange. You'll see me on there. You'll be able to check out everything that I'm rating as we're talking about it. There we go. So let's talk about Florida recruiting. We talked a little bit about yesterday. I'm just going to pick right up where we left off. We talked about Leonard Taylor from Palmetto High. He committed today to Miami. Disappointed? Sure. Shocked? Not at all. And nobody is. Whoever, if I got some Gator fans watching this, you shouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised. Disappointed, yes. So here's the deal. There were 5 Palmetto kids at the beginning of this class that Florida thought that they had a shot with. And in fact, they had at one point were leading for 3 and had one of them committed. Rashad Smith was committed at one point. We led for Marshall. We led for Leonard. And we led for Collier. The only one we didn't have was already committed to Miami. That was Collins. Okay, so now we're looking at August 6th. And Rashard Smith has decommitted from Florida. Leonard Taylor has committed to Miami. And just flipping through Twitter today, it is a foregone conclusion that you can expect to probably see Jason Marshall and Corey Collier both end up at Miami. Now, I'm not predicting that. I don't have any inside knowledge except for spending too much time on Twitter and the message boards. But that's what I'm here to bring to you. I'll tell you some things. Hey, believe me, do your own research. Look at Twitter. But I think they say read the tea leaves. Well, I was reading some tea leaves today. Looks like Florida's not getting those people, unfortunately, when they should have. And why we're not getting them is totally up to you. Now, we'll talk about some of the some theories in here in just a minute. So let's talk about who do we replace Leonard Taylor with. We lost Leonard Taylor. Are we going to flip him? Who knows? Reading his commitment, his commitment message, how he spoke, he's going to stay close to home, and close to home is Miami since he's at Palmetto High. Florida, I'd turn the page. Turn that page. Let's start a new chapter. There are some options. Are they 5-star Leonard Taylor? I don't think so. Well, we do have Bryce Langston. He used to be committed to Florida. He's flirting back and forth with LSU and Florida now, and he looks to be a pretty good Florida lean right now. So it's not a bad player at all. Check him out. Bryce Langston. After that, like I mentioned earlier, we got Savion Collins, who is committed to Miami, a Palmetto kid. He is someone who, if you read the message boards, you read Twitter, Gator fans, Gator insiders, the coaches, they've kept up with him. Are we going to flip him? That's anyone's guess. My problem is I don't see 5 kids who played high school together, live in the same city, are going to pass up a chance right now to play at the same college. They're watching their teammates go one at a time. The second Leonard Taylor committed, boom, Jason Marshall was tweeting right afterwards. Like I said, let's turn that page. I need to do the same. So do we flip Collins? Do we land Bryce Langston? We'll see. Unfortunately, the only other option is flip. His name is Tunmise. He is committed to Ohio State right now. Florida promised him, when you commit wherever it is, we will continue to pursue you. They're doing just that. There's a reason for optimism, sure. Ohio State is loaded and they're not stopping right now. So your guess is that if someone comes in and he feels threatened at that spot, maybe he comes with the good guys. Does Florida want to take those misfits from another loaded program? Sure, of course. You'll take them all day long, any way you can get them. Or 247 defensive end Armitage. He is from up in New Jersey. All the crystal balls on 247 are USC. I think Florida can probably turn the page on that. Ironically, the only thing keeping Florida in it, his parents like the academic standing of the University of Florida. Dan Mullen is constantly preaching we're top 10 at academics, top 10 in football. Okay, well, maybe you get the academic part is sold to this guy and his family. Let me go ahead and a little parch. Let me get this real quick. That's so good. Again, Space Donkey, look at that. Go get one of these. Support your local breweries. Support your local establishments in general. Restaurants, breweries, go out there. Put the money back into the economy. Keep these breweries open because I want to keep going and getting them. So that's who we can hopefully replace Leonard Taylor with. Bryce Langston, flip Savion Collins, flip the defensive end from Ohio State, or pull this guy from New Jersey. All high-ranked, high-level athletes. But it looks like I believe only 2 of these guys are from the state of Florida. And what we talked about last episode is you got to close on the guys in state. Or else, after that, you're looking out of state. You're wrestling with the big boys. Hidden Springs, delicious. Drove by it today. Probably should have stopped. Looked vacant. I gotta do some research, see if you can go into the tap room if it's to go. But I'm sure, Justin, I know you. You've probably already been there and you already know. So go ahead and tell me how to get beer because I bet you already know. So let's move on to the next thing. We covered Leonard Taylor. Boo-hoo. We can cry if you want. Fine. Have fun playing in an empty stadium. We get it. To the Gator fans out there, don't go harass the kid. The kid's 18 years old. He was sitting up there on the stage with his mom, brother, and his dad. Let's not harass him on Twitter. I've seen it. I can pull it up right now on Twitter. There are multiple, just kind of very don't tweet at the recruits, I think is what the golden rule is. Okay, as fans, we don't tweet at the recruits. So let's move on here. So we covered future targets, who we're going to go after. Now, what are we going to cover here? Let's look at an article I saw today. Partly a recruiting podcast. So Chief Borders, he has been committed to Florida for a very long time. However, if you look at his offers, he's got those high-level academic school offers, and he's always been a fan of Stanford. Stanford's not going anywhere, folks. He's even made it apparent in a Sports Illustrated article that I read today. So watch out for Stanford. He's a longtime UF commit, but he's all into the academics. Don't be surprised if he up and leaves this class. It would be unfortunate. All right. So I don't know if anybody saw this today. The coaches poll came out. They had Florida at number 8. Okay, behind Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma, and Penn State. Do I agree with that? Do I expect you to agree with that? Nah, probably not. But the only problem I have with that is probably LSU and Penn State. LSU lost a lot of people. Heisman winning trophy quarterback. Probably the offensive coordinator or passing coordinator, I think as Coach O referred to him, who made all that possible. I think they also had 3 or 4 transfers, and I think had a record first round or either total draft or first round prospects taken. So they're filling a lot of holes, kind of just like Georgia. Lost your starting quarterback, new offensive coordinator. All things considered on paper, this should be Florida's year if we're talking like that. So watch out for Chief Borders. He's been a long time commit. You'd hate to see him go, but maybe that leaves room for one of the guys we mentioned earlier. Collins is going to be someone I would definitely keep an eye on. But if all 4 of his teammates from Palmetto go to Miami, why is he leaving? Why is he going to be the one defector from Palmetto to leave Miami to go to Florida? Something to think about. All right, so we talked about the coaches poll. Now, Chief Borders, he's doing his thing. Now, let's go on to Saturday Down South. Posted something very interesting today. Since 2010, the University of Florida is ranked number 4 in conference games since 2010. Only behind Bama, LSU, and Georgia. Probably not a surprise. Slightly ahead of Georgia. Big surprise. Tennessee's way down, I think. They're about 15 games below 500, which I don't know how you feel about this, Gator fans, but they're ranked ahead of us in the rankings right now. How is Pruitt doing this? I'm not sure. Gators are 22-5 in the last 2 seasons. I don't even think Tennessee is 500. No reason why Pruitt should be out recruiting Mullen. Let's check the comments here. So, want to get your thoughts on no FSU and UF. Oh, hey, Justin, guess what, man? Right here, number 7 on my list. Today, Governor DeSantis said he is going to make sure this rivalry continues. I don't know what that means. I don't know the pull that he's going to have in the state university system, but that's one person who wants it to happen, and that person happens to be the governor of our state. So if there's any hope that that's going to happen, I think that that may be your silver lining. I think this would be the first time since 1958 that Florida State don't play each other. I don't know about you, but that would put a damper on my November. I mean, we're already talking about possibly pushing this season back. Next thing you know, the first week of September should have been our college football. Now we're looking at pushing it back to October. Now no Florida State, possibly playing Alabama. And who else was it? They said there was going to be 2 possible teams that Florida would play And we weren't getting the short end of the stick. We were getting the tough people. While Georgia's over here getting Arkansas, Mississippi State. Go figure. It's all right. So number 4 in the conference. Hey, that's not bad. Since 2010, that's big time. And you're following two teams who have won national championships and one who's been there. Georgia's been to the SEC championship 2 times in a row. So say what you will, you're in good company. The good thing is, hey, we beat LSU 2 out of 3 years. We've been competitive with Georgia, got to recruit a little bit better, and we'll get them. Kirby Smart can't keep outsmarting Mullen for long, I promise. And Bama, if you're going to play Bama, this is the year before Bryce Young comes in next year. Believe that. If you ever watched any of those All-American games, Bryce Young's a real deal. I prefer to play Bama this year. But I guess however you look at it, if Florida keeps winning, you're meeting Bama in the championship one way or another until LSU kind of comes back or whoever if it's Auburn, that kind of thing. All right, what are we doing next? What do we got? Okay, so I don't know if y'all heard, but Devon Wilson, 4-star cornerback from Georgia, he decided to transfer. I believe that he was on campus probably a couple weeks ago, maybe by himself. I don't know if he was on campus. Don't quote me on that. But his social media led you to believe that he was actually looking at Florida. Turns out he's going to go to UCF. Are Gator fans necessarily upset about this? No, but depth is always nice with your defensive backs. I mean, we all saw what happened with Trey Dean last year. Dude got burned all the time. We can beat Georgia. They are known to choke. Should have beat Georgia last year. Chalk it up to that. Should have beat them. A lot of stalled drives. Can't keep that up. It was almost like Mullen kind of had a brain fart or something like that. Remember, we drove the ball up and down the field against LSU like it was nothing. Punch for punch with them. Justin, you were with me on my back porch. We watched that game. I was in New York during the Florida-Georgia game, and I'm glad I only came in the back half. I think it was probably the best of that game that Florida looked that day. So, but is there a time where Florida could potentially walk into that game ranked depending on how those first few games go? They're replacing a lot of people. I said that earlier. Placing the offensive coordinator. Jake Fromm's gone. You got a lot of pieces that they're trying to replace. I think they had a first-round pick on the offensive line gone, Isaiah Wilson. So now's our time to pick them off. That's what you're hoping to do. So what is next? All right. So Justin, that was my number 7. We covered it. Governor DeSantis. He's going to make this game happen if someone can. We can all hope, cross those fingers, because we'd love to put up that 40 burger on FSU again. I don't know about you, but that makes me feel good inside. Anytime you beat Florida State by 1, by 40, every time. I want it. All right. So what do we got? All right. So I was surfing Twitter. I love when previous Florida players who have got drafted get involved in the recruiting right now. So if you go on Twitter right now, CJ Henderson tweeted at Jason, or I guess replied to a tweet of Jason. I'm kind of new to Twitter, honestly, so I don't know what you would call it. Jason Marshall tweeted, maybe it's my time to shake up the room. Like I said earlier today, or earlier in this podcast and yesterday, Jason Marshall is trending away from Florida. He is trending now towards Alabama and Miami. It's looking more and more like Miami for reasons that we've already talked about. We've beaten that dead horse. That's where I'm going to assume he's going. CJ Henderson comes in and says, we play big boy ball in the SEC. So you got to say, if you're afraid of competition, then I guess go to Miami, I guess go to Miami. Pandemic or not, you'll probably play in an empty stadium. And that's their hometown. I'm not going to fault the kids for staying home during a very fluid time that we're all living in right now, for sure. So CJ Henderson came at him. Another thing, I just want to drop a little bit on you right now. So yesterday we talked about Florida's inability to recruit the state of Florida. Today I also saw an article that Tyreek Sapp, let me just tell you, he's 95th national. And he's 16th in the state of Florida. He's not shutting down the recruitment, dead period or not, committed to Florida for almost a year or not. The guy's looking around. Of course, Alabama's sneaking around. What are you going to do if Alabama's coming around? I don't know. We'll have to ask Mullen that. I'm not too confident. But let me just tell you what happens if Tyreek Sapp, if he chooses to go elsewhere. Remember yesterday, my big gripe was that only in the past since 2018, we have only had 7 top 15 recruits from the state of Florida in 2 years. Right now, Miami's got 5 committed to him already. Those are all those numbers are coming from 247 Sports. They're great with I trust their, well, I'll let you make that opinion. Don't listen to me. Go check out 247 Sports. That's where I'm getting these rankings from. If Tyreek Sapp was to leave and go to Alabama or wherever it is that he's considering, our next recruit from the state of Florida is the 27th best recruit, 176 nationally. That would be our highest recruit in this class. Can't have that. You're scrolling down the list 4 pages before you see Trevante Rucker, our highest rated recruit, if Sapp leaves. After that, it's the 32nd best player in the state of Florida, the 222nd national recruit. So all of that ties in directly to what I said yesterday. Florida simply cannot consistently hang with the Alabamas, with the LSUs, and with the Georgias. And remember, those are the 3 teams ahead of Florida since 2010. It is no coincidence that if you were to pull up all of our rankings since 2010, you're probably going to see Bama, LSU, and Georgia finishing pretty consistently ahead of Florida. I need to start doing work on this because I got to get this 16-ounce beer into this 12 one. All right, so let's keep the wheels turning. I got some cool recruiting stuff for you. And I know that this is a Brew and Orange beer and Gators. I love the Gators. It's tattooed on the arm. Okay, I love them till I die. I don't want these first 2 podcasts of my podcasting career to look like I'm dumping on Florida. Remember when you got grounded as a kid and your mom said, "I'm only grounding because I love you"? Well, I'm only saying this because I love you, Florida. That's it. Don't fault me for it. So, 2018 class, we had 3 top 100 prospects. Admirable, What we can't say much. We know we've won 10 games and then 11 games 2 years in a row. I think we're 22-5 in 2 years. 2019 class, 3 top 100 prospects. Okay. Oh, last year with Gervin Dexter, Wingo, we had 4 top 100 prospects. This year, 2021, pains me to say it. It's August right now. Early signing period is right around the corner. That board's shrinking every day. Every time a commitment happens, and August is going to be tough. I think it was David Waters who posted today on Twitter. When Leonard Taylor committed, his tweet was the first major blow for the Palmetto kids. And I don't think you tweet something like that unless you really feel that Collier, Marshall, Taylor, Collins, Brashard Smith, all 5 guys who at one point were Florida leans, stay in Miami. I trust them on that. 2021 class is only 1 top 100 player right now. And that's Tyreek Sapp. That's why I slid that underneath. Made you feel all good inside. Tyreek Sapp. Will he stay? Will he go now? Nobody knows. But if he goes, that's how many top 100 prospects will be. According to 247 rankings, Rivals, and Max Prep, a little different. But when I'm talking about these, I'm talking about 247. We'll have 0. Say it again, 0 top 100 prospects. We're ranked 11th right now behind Miami, North Carolina, Tennessee, I think USC. I don't even have to go anymore. But if you lose Tyreek Sapp, we're already at an 89 average recruit. Last year, we were at 90. You're dropping down 88, 87. So I just don't know if you want to go that, I don't want to be a pessimist. I'm typically an optimistic guy. So hopefully Sapp sticks. Maybe, just maybe, Mullen can recognize what's happening right here. He can recognize. So the other day, just for kicks and giggles, I went on to the coach's website. all the coaching staff. I went one by one. I checked all of their I checked their resumes essentially. And outside of Larry Scott, who coached at USF before he went to Florida, the only state of Florida ties that these coaches have on the staff is because they coached at Florida back in the day when Mullen was here under Urban. I don't know if that's a winning formula. I think if you were going to recruit at high level in the state of Florida, you have got to surround your guys. You have to surround your coaching staff and your recruiters, people who know the state, who know South Florida, who know the Panhandle, who know Armwood, these high level schools around here. Yeah, we have a couple Armwood guys this year. We got some Jesuit guys. They're lower 4-star guys. That's fine. But we let Trey Sanders leave last year. We let Bowman leave the year before. You can't let these guys go like that. And that means locking up here. So let me see what else we got here. Let's do it. What do we got? Any questions? Justin, hit me up. What you got here? I see I got 2 full listeners here. I've heard in the comments from my one listener. Who's the second listener? Are we a Gator fan? Are we just a craft beer fan? Again, look at the color on that bad boy. Definitely recommend going to a Tampa Bay Brewing Company. I absolutely recommend it. I've never been to the West Chase one, but give it a shot. Someone let me know how it is, because the Ybor one is great. I mean, if you've never been on the Ybor, it's classic as it gets. So what I wanted to do, I want to start something new with my podcast, even though this whole thing is new. I want to do a recruit to watch at the end of each of my podcasts. Maybe you'll go search them, maybe you won't. But if you listen to my podcast and they end up recruiting here or elsewhere, it's someone that you've heard. So right now, recruit to watch. His name is Jaden Blue. He's from Texas. He is he's the 61st overall in the nation, 61 in the nation, and he's the 4th best running back. So Tim Brewster, we hired him from North Carolina. Okay, he's supposed to, when he came on, Gator Nation was pumped, right? Rightfully so. He has his reputation precedes him for sure. When he came over here, he was responsible for landing big time recruits at North Carolina. And anyone, I only got 2 people here, but if this second person's a Florida State fan, they're going to know that Brewster landed Dalvin Cook. Remember when Dalvin Cook kind of trolled Florida? Well, Brewster was the guy who pulled him back over to Florida State. So rightfully so, when Brewster came over here to Florida, hey, we thought that fence was going to get put up. Who do you think has an advantage and who has a disadvantage of playing just if what you're seeing on Twitter right now comes to fruition, Florida is absolutely at a disadvantage right now because we already had a very manageable schedule. We would have played we had some cupcake games where you would have started off last year. We had Miami. This first game, it's a cupcake. We had at least 2 or 3 of those. Now, if this schedule comes to fruition that they're talking about on Twitter, and I don't know who these sources are, this, that, and the other, but you would see Florida playing Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee. It's going to be a hard schedule for them. For Florida, it is, because what looked like a possible 11-1, 12-0, and beyond, now you're talking about having to see Georgia and Jacksonville, LSU, and the Swamp, Alabama. No, I mean, what conference? Oh, my first thought goes to the Big Ten and the Big 12. So let's see. What conference has an advantage? Which ones have a disadvantage? So I think if we just simply talk about the hierarchy of these conferences, the Big 10, the Big 12, they're going to have it probably pretty easy. I think the Big 10 released their schedule today. Cakewalk for Ohio State. Coincidence that they're kind of the only Big 10 team constantly competing. And remember, we talked about the coaches poll today. You had Ohio State and Penn State. Is there a national desire to see someone other than a Clemson or an Alabama or LSU now? They had their one good year, but see someone other than them in the national championship? Absolutely. I think there is. I don't think that can be disputed. Just kind of look at how the media pushes these things. Just look at it. Look at these rankings. Why is Penn State ahead of Florida? No one can justify that. So SEC would have the hardest time, particular teams more than others, if they go to all conference. Big 10, Big 12. I mean, name me some teams in the Big 12 who are going to be solid. You're always talking about the same 2 or 3. It's Oklahoma and it's Texas. Look, man, we kind of got away from taking into consideration this, that, and the other when we left the BCS. I don't think, first off, you can't take out human bias. It's not possible. Psychologically, not possible to take out your biases, your preconceived notions. You can't take that away. The committee they can take that into consideration, but if you do, why not take into consideration that Florida only lost to Georgia and LSU last year, the SEC East champion and the national champion? Should they have been higher at the Orange Bowl? Maybe not, but should they have been ranked higher, given more respect? Probably so. Probably so. So let me get back real quick to Jaden Blue, because in this article that I read, he had some very interesting comments that I'm like, just kind of play on this whole thing. Is Dan Mullen and the staff kind of I don't know, clueless? Are they tapped in? Are they on vacation when other schools are recruiting? So he starts off by saying LSU is his dream school. That right there is not a good sign, but that's fine. So he also said he didn't know that he had a scholarship from Florida. And in the article, it sounds like Brewster was kind of taken aback. Oh, you didn't know you had a scholarship? So who forgot to send the text, the email, or make the phone call? That this number 4 running back in the 2022 class, Jaden Blue, number 61 in the nation. Now you got to say, if he has a really good senior year, he's jumping up into the 5-star range. Do we have good history landing running backs the last 2 years? We don't. Just that firsthand. So the marquee teams in the SEC have an advantage this year. So go ahead and look that up, because you'll see what I see. Georgia's schedule did not get tougher. I don't know what went in. What was the criteria for giving Florida, Alabama, and giving Georgia, Arkansas? I don't know. Is there an annual, biannual rotation that are in contracts? No one will know. And I don't think they'll ever tell us. It'll be up to you and me to go ahead and have these theories, hash it out, figure out why Florida's going to have to play LSU, Georgia, and Alabama in 1 year. 2 cross rivals that are going to be ranked. I mean, the coaches poll today, what was it again? LSU number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so let's just hypothetically say Florida keeps that schedule. They're going to play number 3, number 4, number 5. So maybe you pull off an LSU, you pull off a Georgia, and you lose to Bama. Best case scenario, you beat your regular schedule. You beat your Tennessees, your Kentuckys, your Vanderbilts. You beat all those guys. You drop one of those 3, Bama, Georgia, LSU. If you lose Bama, no one's going to hold that against you. You're going to see them again in December or whenever this hypothetical SEC championship would happen. So the marquee teams right now are Alabama and Georgia. Is Alabama getting the short end of the stick playing Florida? I guess if you're a Florida fan, you'll say, or if you're an Alabama fan, you probably think Florida's a tougher opponent than some of the other teams you could have drawn. Georgia, though, I'm sitting back, putting my hands up. Hey, I got Arkansas. Cool. We're wipe the floor with them. So that's the problem with this right now. There is no set criteria for why someone is going to pick up those teams right now. You'd have to hope that maybe these commissioners can shed some light on that. It's a good question. I'd really like to know. There we go. We're not almost done, but what else? I'm looking right here. What else do I got? Final pour. There she is. What is going on here? Making sure I'm still recording on my podcast over here. I know I've got the live stream up and running. But no big deal. All right, so let's make sure I cover everything. We covered Leonard Taylor, covered the coaches poll. We covered the conference schedule since 2010 in the records. We saw Devon Wilson go to UCF. Oh my gosh, how did I forget? Okay. So there's a podcast with Barstool Sports called Bussin' with the Boys. I haven't listened to it, but if you scroll through if you go ahead and just scroll through the Barstool Sports, Spotify, Bussin' with the Boys is a very, very popular podcast. So they had on Ole Miss, former Ole Miss wide receiver, 4-star wide receiver in the 2016 class, current Tennessee Titan wide receiver, A.J. Brown. He had some interesting comments. They were vague. I did a little bit of research into his recruiting profile. But before I read his quote, I'll tell you who his recruiters were. None other than John Hevesy, the offensive line coach now at Florida, and Billy Gonzalez, the current wide receiver coach. And here is A.J. Brown's comment. The coach didn't recruit me. He just expected me to come. I guess he's saying that because he is from Starkville, Mississippi, which is the home of Mississippi State. So I guess now there is if you read some articles, I even put one down. There's a 2019 article. It's on my Twitter. Go check it out. The Orlando Sentinel. One of the Gator insiders posted it. Let's just say it didn't age well. We were really pumping up this Gator class a year ago. Really pumping it up. That's before Chris Steele transferred out. Okay. Even this year, you had casualties like Isaiah Walker. That's dead weight. It leaves. It hurts the rankings. It hurts the optics of the entire thing. Do I play GTA roleplay? I do not. No, sir. Sorry. So anyways, that Ole Miss, he went to Ole Miss, sure. People are saying, oh, but why would an Ole Miss guy, gas up Dan Mullen, that kind of thing. I think he's being honest here. And I don't know if it was Dan Mullen. Could have been Hevesy, could have been Gonzalez. Those were his two recruiters at the time. But to think just because you're winning games in Starkville that the top wide receiver in Starkville is just going to walk on the campus and assume his position, that ain't the case. You got to go out there. My problem with that is Dan Mullen's been quoted to say, I don't care if it's chess, checkers, or thumb war, I want to beat you. I want to see him put that on the trail. I don't know, Sergio. Looks like we're getting hacked by a gnome of some kind. So, all in all, like I said, I don't want to dump on Florida. Florida's my team. I just want to see them do better because in the long run, recruiting matters, stars matter, development matters. You have to take it all in. No one wins with just 5 stars, but no one wins with just the 3. So, again, let's go ahead, support your local breweries. Drink some Space Donkey. It is National IPA Day, whether it's a hazy pale ale or it's a hazy IPA, drink it. Wear your mask when you go out. Keep your family, your loved ones, keep them all safe. That's what's most important right now. We all want to see college football happen. We want to see Florida run the table and beat Bama, LSU, Georgia. That's what we want. So, Justin and whoever this other person is, probably my mom, I appreciate y'all being on here. That's awesome. 38 minutes. I only had 1 page of stuff, and it managed to go 38 minutes. So I'll take it. That's cool. So again, everybody, thank you. I thank my Anchor, the actual podcast on Anchor. It looks like I had some kind of Wi-Fi disconnection. So I really hope that everybody will watch this live stream again. And I appreciate all those if you come in late. All those who followed me today, David Waters, Dave Sneeds, he's a graphic designer for UF. I appreciate all those follows. Tampa Bay Brewing Company, you've been great. Again, drink local. That's what I'm doing. That's what you should do every time. The best beer. Tampa's underrated when it comes to this craft beer game, I promise. So everyone go out. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. I've got some fun stuff planned. We got birthday parties. We got a dinner. We're all going to keep it small. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it healthy. And we're going to have fun. So thank you for joining me on Brew and Orange podcast. That's recruiting part 2. Maybe I'll do another one tomorrow. We'll see what Twitter's got in hand for me. We'll see. We'll just see what Gator recruiting news comes up. And if it prompts me to start a podcast, I'll start it, but I'll let you know first. Please go to brewandorange.com. You'll find my blog. You'll find all my social media. sites that are on there. You can click right on and come and find me. Um, and I appreciate this. I'm going to keep doing this as long as you'll have me. So go Gators, cheers, and everyone stay safe, stay healthy. Justin, love your brother, and go Gators.